Halen.
Hello, everyone.
Hi, can you hear me?
Hello.
My microphone on? Okay. I'm just gonna text John because I was texting him a little while ago.
I got it. I got
Oh,
it.
oh, you're there. Okay, hi. Okay. I didn't see you.
Thank you. Thanks for thinking of me.
No problem. I always think of you first, John. You're my go-to person when I have a question.
Okay.
And I think I'm like missing something or
Ready to start?
Yep. I got a couple more people in. All right, so we can call this meeting to order at 7:01. And I have a motion to elevate the alternates.
So moved.
Second,
Second.
all those in favor, thank you.
Aye.
Say aye.
I.
Any opposed? Okay. Acceptance of the agenda, any changes or additions? Okay, motion to accept the agenda, please.
So moved.
Okay, second,
Second.
thank you. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Thank you. Approval of the minutes, did they get sent out?
Yes. Well, they got sent out. I don't know.
Oh, I didn't see them.
No,
Okay.
no, I forgot to attach them.
Okay, no problem. We'll do them next month. Any correspondence, Miranda?
Yeah, I have a few. Let's see. So, and so one was from someone, Robert Mellis, who sent me a message through the kind of website that said, was commenting on the paths at Kent Commons Park and how they're overgrown. And that he was concerned about walking there just because the
The
footing
ruts.
is a little,
Yeah,
sorry?
there's ruts pathway and everything.
yeah, he was just saying, you know, for them, they're maybe older folks that they're worried about losing their footing, and him and his wife. And so that was one of the correspondence.
Okay.
And I don't know if we just want to add this to the agenda. Well, I don't know if we could still do that, but Dave Dunleavy emailed me regarding the Kent Pumpkin Run. And he said in the past we've contributed to that.
Mhm.
And so was just asking, you know, how we wanted to be involved, if we wanted to be involved this year. And then, oh, that was the one I just read. And then maybe this other one, I'll just go over when we talk about the winter sports, because it has to do with that. And it's just from Michelle Mott.
Winter sports program, you said?
Winter programming.
Okay.
And then, oh, there was one other that I was gonna mention. And I think Lynn, you maybe got this correspondence as well from Marty Lindemeyer talking about the conditions of the fields. And that there was a groundhog hole in the fields, Kent Center School. And he was concerned about that. I had mentioned it to Rick. And he said, you know, the guy that does the mowing will try to smooth it out and address it as best he can, but definitely some work to do on those fields.
Do you, I'd like to take some action on that Robert Mullen thing. I would like to forward that to Rick Osborne and to Gene Speck that you're online right now. I mean, if they're cutting the grass, they should be able to rake out the pathway. It doesn't take that much longer. And it's always been a problem when we have heavy rains, but I mean, I'm not there. I usually do it myself, but I can't get it myself. So I think they should take that upon themselves. I mean, that's my opinion, but that's up to you guys. But I would definitely forward this to Rick and Gene, because that could be, somebody could easily break their ankle or anything on that field, on that walking path.
Yeah, and I think that there's also just the weeds there. We need to either spray or hire somebody to do something.
No,
there.
what we normally use is like a 30% vinegar solution from the town garage. But again, like I'm not there and I can't get there. So I mean, they should take that upon themselves for now until we can get something straightened out later on.
Does this all fold into the part-time maintenance position we
That's what I
started
was thinking.
describing at our last meeting? Yeah, it seems like it's something we want to try to
helps the
prioritize.
argument. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think, didn't you guys have a discussion about getting some just prices
Sorry.
to hire somebody to handle the
Sorry,
things that
Lynn, sorry, Jean, to interrupt you, but Blythe is in the waiting room.
Oh, yeah, sorry. Thank you. I see a whole bunch of people here. Not paying attention to that.
Sorry, Jean, what were you saying? I didn't mean to interrupt
That's
you.
okay. I thought I remembered a discussion at it was either last month or the month before about just hiring a local landscaper or local
Handyman type thing, yeah.
yeah.
But what would we do?
That's what we're
Excuse
talking
me.
about.
Yeah, but what do we do for right now? I mean, the path be raked, and they need to put down the vinegar.
Well, is it something that we could do in this meeting? Resolve that, at least resolve to try to get somebody, to hire somebody?
Yeah, I thought that's what the plan was from a couple of meetings ago, was to because you have money in your budget to do that.
So we have this on the agenda, but doesn't matter if you want to discuss it now, I guess. Up to you guys.
So is there a certain order of operations we need to take to hire a seasonal worker?
I think we have to get a list of jobs we would want them to perform and then advertise it. And I don't know that we have that list together yet. We have a good idea and maybe we can do that tonight when we get to that.
We have a really solid list that Diane and John put together.
Mhm.
So
Fair enough.
is there, John, Diane, do you think we need to make an edit of that? Is there a prioritization of that?
I mean, we submitted that list a long time ago, about a year ago, just when the COVID hit. So yeah.
Yeah, and I think it was Abigail, didn't you edit it, or was that the didn't we edit, like John and I presented that
Yeah.
and it was edited, so it probably should be, I would think it would be in the minutes if we look back.
I think it's a pretty good
It was a pretty good list. We worked
to
on
work
that.
with.
We worked on that a while, yeah.
But
So-
the question is, and we seem to be skipping this. The question is, what are we going to do right now? I mean,
think-
it's
We should
mean, somebody
hire
could-
a person to do the job and get that person hired so they can address it within the next 4 weeks.
so in
No?
the meantime, somebody could trip and fall on the sidewalks, on the pathways.
Well, it's a
need-
terrible thing. We don't
Yeah,
want
but
that
you
to
need to-
happen, so we're trying to
Yeah.
take action to get
Well, you have to,
somebody.
you have to be proactive, and you have to get it done within, I mean, the guy complained, I'm sure there's other people that are complaining as well. Get it done now. I mean, have the town crew do it for now. Just once, all you have to do is just rake it out and just take the vinegar and spray it, and then it should be okay for a couple months before the next rainfall.
So John, if I can get over there, can you come over and make sure I'm doing it correctly? I can bring rakes and shovels and whatever I need, and I don't think there's a lot that's washed out.
Yeah, there is.
There is.
I think
I'm
you
happy
need
to do it while I'm
yourself.
sitting there at tennis on Wednesday if there's anything I can do.
So maybe a few of us just meet over there on something like Wednesday night and try to take care of it. And we can have Ricky mix us up a solution to spray.
But it's already made up. All you have to do is just put it in a canister and spray.
Okay, we'll get it ready for us and we can, where's the canister? If we have whatever.
Well, I
I
have
can
my
talk
that I was
tomorrow.
using spray, so I can let you guys use it.
Rick probably has a sprayer that he can just take from the big drum and mix you all up something. I can talk to him in the morning.
All right.
I'll bring some sort of rake and work on it from 3:30 to 4:30 on Wednesday.
So in the meantime, like that solves the immediate issue of the path at Kent Commons, but what do we need to do to actually take action on hiring a landscaping group or a person to do that type of maintenance for us?
Basically, like we said, we have the list, so if we can, is it easy as just putting it out on a few social medias? Because the newspaper isn't worth it. Where else do you put it? Jean could put it out in her letter. We could throw it out in the area social media pages, see if anybody bites. We can put it in the paper, but I don't know if that's worth it, like I said.
I think the paper and social media are probably a good idea.
I'll reshare the documents that Diane and John put together with
Thank
everybody
you.
on the commission so you could see them. And screen sharing's disabled. Oh, for a reason, I guess. Okay, I was gonna ask to share it, but no need after what happened a few meetings ago.
Oh. Can I turn that off?
No, just keep it on. It prevents what
Okay.
happened a
It
few
says-
meetings ago.
On my end, it says one participant can share at a time.
Well, if you want to give me permission, I can share just so you all see it, have eyes on it, and then I'll share it all with you via email.
All right, I just tried to change that.
Okay, yeah, I can do it now.
Okay.
There you go. So I've got a few documents here, and we've got the routine maintenance recommendations. We have the wish list of things we wanted to do to improve the parks. We have all the images of the issues as per the documentation that Diane and John did. And then we have what were at that point needed maintenance repairs. So I think from here we could probably put together a description of things.
Mm-hmm.
You know, what this doesn't actually, I'm trying to see. That's the wish list. I think probably from this routine maintenance and the currently needed maintenance repairs, we probably could put together a list of things for someone to do. The weeding of the pathways, tree trimming. How do we want to make a call of what we would include in that list of things? Do we want to go into this and prioritize 5 things to get someone
So,
started?
We do have seasonal worker, like I said, on the
Okay.
agenda. So, we can just save it for a minute.
Yep, just so you all know we have those documents. So
Okay.
it's a starting point.
And if those are up, are those in the chat now? Or are they gone?
I'll share the folder with you all.
Okay, everybody can take a look quick. Miranda, did you have any more correspondence?
I'm sorry, Lynn.
Did you have any more correspondence?
No, I think those are the main ones.
Okay. Public and invited guests?
So I do have Lee Soul
Okay.
here.
Hi, Lee.
And I think she's, yeah. And I don't know if it's too late to adjust the agenda, but I had asked if she wanted to come when we talk about learn to skate. So a fair way down on the agenda there.
Yeah, we can move that up so she doesn't have to wait
Okay.
as a,
So
under
I'll
public. Yep.
I'll make a motion that we move it up to winter programming for just the learn and skate, or you want to do both basketball at the same time?
Just learn to skate at this point, so we
Okay,
don't
well,
have,
we'll move it up to the next part of the agenda.
so move it up to old business A and move everything down one.
Yep.
Second that.
Thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
Hi.
Aye. Thank you. Any opposed? Great. Okay. Brandon Lee.
Yeah, so we've been kind of going back and forth with Courtney at Kent School. And it seems like, you know, they're on board with hosting either Saturday or Sunday. Or really both days. It's just kind of what kind of program we choose to run. I think you know, in the past we did one day, or the 2 years ago, I think we did one, maybe Sunday.
No, we did 2 days.
Okay.
The first time we did it with Park and Rec, we did 2 days. Mainly because when we did it with Kent Youth Hockey, we had 2 days. But you had mentioned 1 day, and honestly, I'm concerned about getting coaches for 2 days. Jim would love to have 2 days because he felt the kids really progressed, but I think honestly, we really struggled to have most of the kids there both days. So I'm thinking this year, especially coming out of COVID, I don't know how many people we've lost to programs like the Ice Hawks, who did skate last year. So, you know, even my son, who's in Brookfield, their kids came to our Learn to Skate all through. And now this year, because Emma was still went to the Ice Hawks because we had nothing. Now my 4-year-old grandson's going to go to the Ice Hawks because it's silly for them to do programs in 2 places. So, and like I told Miranda, I'm concerned about coaches. Jim is glad to do the hockey development. I'm happy to help him if my doctor gives me permission. I have crummy bones, so last 2 years I wasn't supposed to skate. But we need somebody to head up the Learn to Skate. I mean, head up that group. We're happy to run it. I'll keep names, I'll keep money, I'll be the one to tell people what's going on. But I don't know any coaches. Both my kids are in different places now. Don Hicks, who we coach with for 25 years, I think his grandchildren are in New Milford. We've just, after last year, we've lost a lot of coaches. Even though we require parents of children, I think it was 4 and under, to be with their kids, they're really with their kids. So they really can't coach per se.
Lee, what about Gonzo over at South Kent School? Maybe he might be able to help out.
Does he skate?
No, but he's
Oh, you mean-
yeah, he's like the assistant director over there or whatever. But yeah, he's.
I mean, he
all
would
good
probably
team.
be a good resource to see if anybody
Yeah.
there at South Kent would be willing to. And I think we can maybe get some people here, depending what day, we end up doing it. We could get some people from the Kent school that might coach. I know Courtney's, casually said her husband might be interested, but who knows if that will play out.
Well,
But
and that's what happened to us 2 years ago when we did it. The first time we did it with Park and Rec was we rounded up, we didn't ask Park and Rec to do it. Jim and I rounded up all these coaches that we knew, but they weren't, other than our kids, they were not our kids. Our kids are like almost 40. Other than them, as far as being reliable, we just didn't see that. And it's all volunteer. We volunteer, they volunteer. We might make a deal with, if people actually coach, then their kids could go free. If we have enough kids, then that would be an impetus maybe for somebody to coach, but they need to know they can't just sit there and work with their kids, which is a typical problem.
Lee, how many coaches do you see needing if we're doing it one day?
I would say somebody to head up Learn to Skate. Jim will head up hockey development. He's the one who created it with Kent Youth Hockey. He could get by without an assistant. Hopefully I will be able to assist him. So that's probably set. I would say a head Learn to Skate and at least 2 others that really know what they're doing and can direct the parents and the kids. We're willing to take adults too. What we signed up, set up last year was, we had 2-year-olds on the ice through adult. I think we only had 1 adult that was a paid skater, but that isn't, we're happy to do that. They would probably, we're willing, but I would say 3 solid coaches, and probably the first couple of weeks, it would be better to have more. So if there's somebody that's experienced and is willing to come help for, the first couple of weeks, because before the kids are standing up on the ice, it takes a lot of adults.
Do we have any idea of what the dates are? I have 2 questions. Do we know kind of around the date range? And second, is this hockey skating or figure skating?
It would be hockey skating. I don't know if the figure skating program, I don't know if you've talked to, it used to be Marika. Before that, it was Marika. What the heck? I had all our kids. Anyway, Marika or
Cool Beth.
Thank you, Cool Beth. And before that, it was Joanna Tucker. They did something set. They did a figure skating. This would be hockey skating. It's the easiest way for kids to learn to skate from our experience going to other rinks and skating with other people. And Jim and I always wind up helping strangers when I don't scare them away. And definitely it seems easier to learn to skate with hockey skates. It doesn't mean they're ever going to play hockey. And unfortunately, we couldn't even offer that now anyway, because there's no Kent youth hockey, but it does prepare them to play hockey elsewhere. So what happens is the learn to skaters come, they're learning to get up, et cetera, et cetera. Some are either older or just more adept. And then we can move some of them into hockey development, but generally we'll get a few hockey development kids that already have some skills. They've skated at, maybe they live at a private school or they've had access to ice elsewhere. And then sometimes we can move them up and wind up with, using sticks and that kind of thing. But to build any kind of program, whether we ever get back to hockey in Kent again, or if it's just to have, so Kent kids have a solid, good skating start, this is a perfect way to begin. I had looked at the calendar, and I think Miranda, I said 13 Saturdays or Sundays. Because then we could still be okay if we charged 150 per child. Thinking of starting like maybe November 20th, I think was a Saturday.
Yeah,
So 20th or
that is.
21st, and going to the end of February, which is usually how long Kent School has its ice anyway. Because if we do a Saturday or even a Sunday, Christmas is on a Saturday and so is New Year's Day. So we would lose out, I would say, that Christmas weekend no matter what. New Year's, definitely not New Year's Day, but we could probably do the 2nd. So then it would be an extra week. But that's what I had projected. And I think we're more apt to be able to get coaches to really say they'll be there if we pick one day a week. Because Jim's not here to argue with me.
Yeah, and I think, parents might not want to commit to 2 weekend days. That's,
It's a good way. First of all, I highly advocate for Lee and Jim running this program. They've always done a wonderful job. People are really happy with it. And as a hockey parent, it is a great segue. And I forgot what my second point was going to be.
That was the main one.
Yeah. I was going to say that again, as a hockey parent, doing one day a week is a good way to segue, but into that timing part, because it gets really busy and you start traveling. And so bring them in easy. Don't scare them away yet. Abigail, did you have your hand up?
I was just giving a thumbs up
Okay.
to being a supporter of the program. We had a really positive time when we did it 2 years ago. Lee and Jim did a great job running it. I think it's a great point of entry. And I think also building on the critical mass that we have with the soccer right now, I think there's going to be a lot of families who will be really interested in doing it. So I think we'll have no problem finding people to participate. It's really exciting to get some programming for kids, particularly athletic programming.
And Miranda, you talked about putting out a survey as far as
yeah,
Saturdays.
we had kind of talked about, Lee and I, just because we were kind of going back and forth on what would be the better day if we wanted to put some sort of questionnaire out to families who might be interested, saying, would Saturday or Sunday work better? And then, whatever that day ends up being.
I just want to throw out there, just don't forget that if we're looking at Kent School coaches and South Kent coaches, they have classes and games on Saturdays.
Yep.
That might really affect their availability.
Right. And we are aware of that. And so, yeah, that is a big kind of factor to that.
I think on a survey, you're just gonna have besides Light's point, you're gonna have a lot of everybody saying both.
That was my concern.
No, I don't mean both the days. I mean, you're gonna have an equal number of people saying each day. you know,
Yep.
you're not gonna get a
private-
decent consensus.
Plus, actually, our motive really, because I had originally thought Saturday, because I know we have lost people over the years on Sundays because of church. But then when we're looking for coaches, which is really important, Miranda had brought up exactly what Blythe just said about the, you know, available people in the private schools. So if that's the direction we're going, is even, I see your point, Lynn, is it even worth putting out a survey when we kind of need to decide, according to having people that are willing to help the kids? Because if we don't have people to help the kids, the program's gonna be weak.
Do you have ideas of some people to ask to coach at this point?
I mean, I have a few ideas, just people that are already involved in the hockey program here at Ken's school.
Okay.
And I could easily send an email to Courtney to kind of get her, because I know that I think she's interested for her kids to do it. So I think she will be on board with helping us kind of get it off the ground. And so I think she'll be a good resource for coaches or volunteers and then just, you know, parents. With the soccer program, we found, well, it just seems like people were very willing to get in there and help out as needed. So
Honestly, I started coaching because Jim's a way better skater than I am. And I skate with all these great people. The reason I got on the ice the second year when my kids were actually, that's when I was never really a learn to skate coach. I went right into coaching teams, was because they really needed a teacher. They didn't need an outstanding skater. And that's kind of where we are with learn to skate. Really, Jim and I kind of really we have a certain direction we want to take, and we don't want people coming in just doing whatever they want. Obviously, we're flexible, but we kind of have a way to go. We really want them to learn the skating skills and to be comfortable on the ice and have a good time. So it's not like we need fantastic skaters. We don't need hockey coaches. Who helped last year or 2 years ago? Kathy Sabetic, because her son had skated and she was comfortable on the ice and she was great. That's really for the learn to skate what we need. Somebody that's not going to scare the kids, isn't going to have them doing anything beyond what they can do, but able to challenge them a little bit too. Jim has way more patience than I do, which is weird since I'm the teacher. But honestly, coaching teams, I love doing something like learn to skate, unless it's your own kids, can be really, honestly, kind of boring. So I don't know how many coaches, people that really know hockey we're going to get. And I don't know how many we need. We need people that are comfortable on the ice and are willing to, you know, use their imagination and take a little direction and take it further, if that makes sense.
I was gonna say, you know, I was kind of poking around a little bit about some of the church services on Sunday to kind of see when the general time frame is for that. And it looks like, you know, some have like earlier services and then a later service. We kind of talked about maybe not wanting to go any earlier than 9 o'clock. Looked like some services started at 10, maybe 10:30. So yeah, it's kind of a tight squeeze. I think Courtney said that the ice was available on Sunday from 8 to 10.
9 would be great. 8 o'clock can be so cold for those little tiny feet that aren't moving very fast.
Right.
When's it available on Saturday?
So it's just an hour. I think maybe 9 to 10.
Okay.
Hold on, let me just.
Sorry, I don't mean to be taking up your whole meeting. I know I go on and on. Because I'm a teacher.
I don't see it right here, but I think it was an hour on Saturday in the morning, like 9 to 10 or something like that.
Does anybody have any other questions on this? Can we make a motion to have Lee and Jim go ahead with this?
So moved.
Can I have a second, please?
Second,
Second.
Any other discussion?
sounds like a great idea. Sounds like a great program.
All those in favor say aye, please.
Aye.
Aye. Any
Aye.
opposed?
Thanks. Thanks, Lee.
Yep, thank you,
Sure.
Lee.
Thank you so
So
much.
we'll talk, Miranda.
Yep, we'll talk.
All right.
Thank you,
Greg.
Lee.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye. All right, so next we'll move on to the Director Search Committee update. We've been having weekly meetings and I attended, John and I were both on the last Board of Selectmen meeting and they proposed a few changes. I think I left it in the house. Oh. Let's see, I've never done a screen share, so maybe I can just put it up there.
Lynn, it's the bottom, it's at the bottom of your screen. It's a green button that says screen share.
Yeah, I got that. How do
And
I
then
bring in
you'll
the file?
You'll select the screen that the file is in. So if it's like a Word document,
Do I have to have it
you'll
open?
see-
I guess I have to have it open, huh?
Here, do you want me to show you? Oh, I guess I can't show you how to screen share.
Um,
Yeah, you have to open the document. So if it's like a PDF, open it
uh,
and then select that. Oh, yeah. There you go.
there's nothing personal on there. That's weird. Okay, cool. First time I did that. So the selectmen asked for a few changes and the committee addressed the what the board had asked for and made some changes. I didn't read everything, but I thought about it afterwards and tried to start doing that. So we removed referees and umpires from the direct reports and made its own little indirect reports pile there. If we go down here, addresses other duties and requests that are assigned in a timely fashion. Something was mentioned about that. Basically, how do we address other duties besides programming and parks if such arises? So we added the line addresses other duties and requests that are assigned in a timely fashion. We can reword that. I literally just got back from New Hampshire today and did some of this stuff in between. So if we have a better way to say that, let me know. All right. Oops. Jean brought up the far down here. Oh my gosh, bear with me.
You're doing great.
Ah, shit, you talk too soon. Is that where I was? Okay. In the line that talks about awards, and it talks about the awards policy, we could not find an awards policy. So the committee changed this to oversees the management to procure and distribute awards as needed. Down to the last line of that section, check sports equipment inventory. We just added the word equipment. We took communicates regularly with selectmen, the town treasurer, other town officers and board members out of a section above. I don't know that I actually deleted that, but it should be cut from the above section, and we put that into communications, especially since it starts with the word communicate. Down to facilities, we added collaborates with the field committee. Where did I go here? Changed up smart, good communication skills to strong communication skills with written, oral, and administrative. Computer skills, we extended that out a little bit to include Microsoft Office Suite and Adobe Acrobat. And I think that's all that I highlighted. Is there anybody see? Oh, we changed relevant life experience to work experience. Anybody have any questions or anything, changes they want to see?
I would just looking at that computer skills, it seems like the Google Suite might be something that's useful, particularly for various surveys, or I don't know if there's, just thinking about the different software Miranda's using right now, if there's, or that we use, like SurveyMonkey. There's some specific things that we might want to include here.
Okay.
And just say, like, you know, some of the things maybe they learn on the job. Sometimes there's things you must have, and then things that are nice to have
Mhm.
in a job description in terms of specific skills. And
How
then
would you like that? Yep.
Does it specify the reporting structure? And are we, as the commission, responsible for evaluating their performance and making decisions on whether this person keeps a job or doesn't keep their job?
I think that's slightly addressed in our bylaws, and when we work on those, that can be addressed more, but I don't think that's part of the job description.
Well, I think we need to be pretty clear to the person how they're being, if they're going to be evaluated, and who they report to.
Is an evaluation to be put into the job description?
Right, so
I think they need to know who they're reporting to, who will be doing some kind of an evaluation. So, I mean, maybe sometimes that's just right up in the top, you know,
So
reports to this
And
person.
up here in the top, we approve the reports to Park and Rec chairman, because they work with the chairman most of all. And then takes direction from Park and Recreation Commission and carries out all the tasks required to make programs and parks run smoothly, addresses other duties and requests that are assigned in a timely fashion.
So we're saying that
wanna put
the
do you wanna-
director.
Yeah, do you want to put a sentence in after reports to Park and Recreation Chairman, performance evaluation will include members of the commission? I don't know. You want to put that in there?
So I think it might be premature partly because there isn't really there hasn't been an evaluation program created yet. So it may be, and you, by all means, the job description can be updated. Again, it's not bound in stone. But I think for purposes of getting this through and approved, and you all looking for some and interviewing for some candidates, it might make sense to either hold off or get a little bit more broad with the evaluation part, since there's no, there's a word that's escaping me. There's no function for any evaluation program, hasn't been
Yeah.
created.
So I'm just flagging the fact that we're hiring somebody, which is awesome. We want to hire somebody. I don't want to derail us from hiring them at all, but we're not explicitly stating how they will be held accountable for their work. And I think it's great that it has a reporting structure in here, and maybe that's enough. But I think that there probably some candidate may ask, so we want to just know how to address the question, because they may say, how will I be evaluated? Is there going to be time for performance evaluation? Because sometimes people like to have that so they know how they're doing.
So again, I guess my question would be, is that part of a job description to you say how they're going to be evaluated, or do we put that under the director's part in the bylaws?
I think it certainly should be addressed in the bylaws. We should be prepared if someone, to have a response, which is why I wanted to ideally do these things together, but that
And
ship sailed.
I would say, since the commission acts as one, the evaluation would be done by the commission. But like Jean said, we don't have a program on how to evaluate department heads or anything.
I guess we can't write anything in this job description.
We can't, I'm
I
not
don't
saying
think
we can't.
I don't think we need to put it. I mean, if the person reports to Lynn, Lynn is therefore the one who's in charge of evaluating the job. This is an open-ended position. There's no term or anything. I mean, I would think this is just like any other job where if they're not doing the job up to the right level, that Lynn is going to be the one to give them pointers and tell them why. And then she'll probably come to the commission and we'll all decide what to do about it. But I don't know that it goes in the job description.
And just a point, it would always be the commission making decisions. It would never be the chairman by themselves.
Right, sorry. Yeah. Thank you for that correction.
Anyone else on that point?
Can we move it forward?
If we're good with the way it's amended and you want to make a motion, go ahead.
So moved.
I have a second.
Second.
That was Blythe.
Yep.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Any more discussion? Feel free to speak now.
How are we addressing salary in this job description? Is it just commensurate upon experience, or is it explicitly stated? Is it not stated and not addressed at all?
The actual dollar amount is not addressed. That will be addressed in the job ad, and the job description will be attached to the job ad.
And
Okay.
we've been there's a new sort of template that all the job descriptions get placed in, and they will have whatever the budgeted salary, whether for hourly workers, it has whatever was approved in the budget on the job description. So it all lives together.
Awesome. Then, yeah,
Okay.
I have nothing else to say.
Perfect. So all those in favor of accepting the job description, please say aye.
Hi.
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Great, thank you very much.
Thanks to the subcommittee for putting the time together to make this job description.
Nice job. Okay, that's the agenda here. All right, we'll move on to the next thing, which is project seasonal worker woodchucks.
Hang on a second.
Extra.
Lynn, did we skip director's report?
We did.
Okay, all right, no problem.
Miranda, do you have one?
I did whip up a short little director's report.
Okay. Do you have anything else you want to say?
Me about the,
You said you did not make a
no,
director's
I
report?
did.
Oh, you did? Okay.
So it's a short one because it's been a busy couple weeks, but the after school program, despite not having a full-time director, still looking, and I think we'll come back to that in more detail later.
Yeah.
But we've gotten off to a good start, I would say, with ASP. We've been averaging about 10 kids a day. And I've been in contact with the library, who has done stuff before with the ASP program. So they might come once a week to read to the kids and do a craft. And then there's also going to be the Kent School has also sent volunteers in the past to help out as part of their community service. And I think that's going to start back up tomorrow. So kind of exciting. The budgets reports, I attached them to the email I sent out earlier. And again, I think that we can talk about that later. We talked about the weeds at Kent Commons Park instructional soccer program. We have over 50 kids registered for the instructional soccer. Great turnout. Seems like it's been a big hit so far. Jerry Decker's been coaching the older group. Anna Duram has been coaching the younger group, and Steve Penner has been helping out. And then we have a couple of parents that have been jumping in and helping too. So it's really been a good program. Summer concert series. I think we kind of finished off on the 12th of September with Wanda Houston. I think is that her name. And yeah, I think the series went well. Travel soccer, we have about 12 kids registered. I don't know that we've ever had that many show up for the actual event, but it's at Housatonic Valley Regional High School. It's being coached by Steve Dodge. I think he's getting help from his assistant and some players. And there's a lot of kids that are participating from all of the other Region 1 towns. And I think it's been going pretty well. So, and then Chris Kiley wrapped up a class at the community center. He kind of talked to me briefly about potentially starting a beginner class sometime in October, but I have not circled back around with him yet about that. And that's it on the director's report.
Terrific. All right. So back down to parks. Does anybody have any questions for Miranda on anything she said first?
No.
So to parks and the seasonal worker, so we can get serious on that seasonal worker.
Yeah, I just want to say one thing about the parks. We got a donation. We should write a letter of thank you. We got a donation of 2 cubic yards of mulch that we put at the memory garden. And thanks to Diane, she raked it all out and made it look beautiful. We just need to write a letter to the Kent Gardens, Kent Greenhouse, and saying thank you for the donation. Does anybody look at it? No. Okay. No problem.
Look at the garden. You sent a picture, right?
I have. I've looked at it.
Yeah, looks good.
Yeah, Diane did that all on her own. So yeah, we need to write a letter to the Kent Greenhouse and say thank you very much.
Okay, so if we want to talk about the seasonal worker job list, do we want to share that document again?
I think, Abigail, did you send that out to everybody?
I
Send
sent
that.
out I'm sorry, I just sent you guys like 5 emails. The last one is a folder that has all the documents in it. So that's where everything that I have, you now all have as well. And I lost everything, so I'll do my best to find them again. And maybe we could try to put together a list of immediate needs so we can put a job, just have somebody come and do it.
Well, if I can just say oh, I don't know if I'm on mute or not. Let me see. No,
Yeah,
I'm
you
not.
did.
We can hear you. Ed.
The path at Emery Park needs to be reconstructed because from the pavilion down to the bottom is too steep of a run. So the water just washes it out every time you get the rain from the top of the hill down.
Mm-hmm.
And then from the tennis court gate down to the driveway parking lot, that needs to be redone because all that does is wash out also. Because I went and I spread a whole truckload of the process this spring with my tractor and spread it all out. And there's no way any of that is going to stay there the way it's constructed.
What's
Yeah,
it?
so
What's the proper construction? Ed, dug up and put pipes in there?
Yeah,
So
drainage,
you're
yeah.
gonna have to put lumber or something,
What is
steps
that?
in order to get the water to go, not just run down a whole straight 100-foot long layer.
What did you say to put down? What was that word?
I have to put timbers down to break it
Oh.
up, the water flow up to push them off the other way.
Or you could put in
Miranda,
drainage. Ed, you could put in drainage.
Miranda,
The
Miranda,
trouble
do you
with
have any thoughts on that as a landscape
trouble with-
architect?
No, I don't think you need
Miranda,
it. You're just gonna
I'm just
need.
asking Miranda if she has any. She's observed it and she
That's good.
might have a thought. And
Oh, I
I'm hearing steps, and I'm wondering if steps is
Yeah, I
didn't-
would,
I wouldn't put steps.
okay. That
yeah, I
the
kind of,
lumber
I mean, I
wouldn't
kind of,
create
I'm
steps.
visualizing what,
No.
Ed is saying as a way to kind of move water off the path. Yeah, it's a little bit tricky because obviously you want to make the path as accessible as possible. So anytime you're putting like lumber down or some kind of tool to get water off the path, you're probably going to make it a little bit less accessible, but obviously you don't want your path washing away. So it's really just the path is steep and it's going directly in the direction of where the water is going. And it's material too. So it's a gravel path. And so obviously that is going to get washed away. So you could, I'm trying to think of a solution that wouldn't cost a lot of money. I mean, there's always doing a different material and pitching your path so that it drains off to the side. But yeah, without taking a look at a survey and topography, and kind of reconstructing it, and maybe, I don't know if you relocate it somewhere to make it so you're getting your water going down and directing the water in the way that you want it to go and not on your path. You could do some sort of swale down the hill. I mean, it's worth someone taking a look at, looking at a survey and the topography, and then kind of seeing where you want your water to go, and that kind of dictates what you want to happen with the path.
So FYI, we don't have a plot plan or a survey of the property. We went looking for it in 2019 because of we wanted to fix that culvert, which has not been done yet. And there was no recorded map for Commerce Park in planning and zoning. So we had to go off of the surrounding areas.
Mm-hmm.
So that should be our first step, is to try and get somebody in there to do a survey, and so that we don't infringe on anybody else's property.
Yeah, I would agree. And if you're going to do any serious work at the park, you would
Yeah.
definitely want to get a survey, topographic survey done. And then then you can kind of see exactly what you're dealing with as far as water flow.
Right.
But I mean, you know, in the meantime, there's, aside from doing kind of what you see, you know, the trail techniques for water mitigation, not a whole lot you can do without kind of redesigning your whole path. Like,
Does it have to be a surveyor that does it? I mean,
Oh, yeah.
like I mean, don't landscaping companies come in and look at topography and kind of make a plan when there's drainage involved? I mean, you have to do the whole. I know the drainage is an issue because it comes from the condos and back. It comes from the condos down and back of the tennis court. And it looks like it runs along the tennis court, and you can actually see the tennis court. Around the tennis court, it's eroding as well. And then into the playground, and then along the path and into the parking lot. But I just wondered if, you know, if you bring a good landscaper in there that really knows what they're doing, that designs patios and steps and other structures, if they know how to divert the water. They have training in that.
I mean, depends on what company you get in there. Some would be qualified to try to do that. It just depends, you know, what the long-term plan. If you guys are at some point going to put, you know, if you're renovating the playground and you're taking a look at some other things at the park, I think it would be worthwhile to get a survey done. Especially, you know, with that culvert too, if that's in the picture. You know, if you just want to do a quick fix of the path, then maybe you have a landscaper take a look at it and see what they think.
I think our first step would be to get the survey done properly. So
Yeah,
that
I
we don't-
guess it all, you know, and it all goes back to the master plan also. I mean, we've talked a little bit about doing a dog park in the back of the tennis courts because there's land there. And if we don't know where the property line is, I guess that's an issue.
Yeah, I think it would benefit us to have proper survey of Kent Common. So a lot of excitement about the moon at our house. I think it would be good to get a real survey of the park.
There's got to be one somewhere, but if we can't find it, I guess we can't find it.
No, we looked, even Joyce, I'm sorry. She looked really hard, and then the only thing we could find was just the surrounding areas of it. So it wasn't, we only went by what we saw from the town hall there in the planning and zoning. And there was nothing that was designated for the Commons Park. It was just the surrounding property lines, but not the park itself.
I'm assuming they did a survey when they built the condos and back, but maybe they.
No, but you definitely need one to go ahead to move forward with this master plan. You need one for that. So, I mean, this is one step to start. I mean, we got to keep going with it. Do we need to send that out to bid if everybody approves that, Lynn? Yes?
Depends on what it is, and under $1,000, we don't have to send it out.
I wouldn't know what the price would be. I know Gary Hawk was working on the fire department and on the property back there. So, I mean, it wouldn't take them that long to do it, but yeah.
I would imagine it depends on how big of a survey you're getting. If you're getting the whole park survey, then it would probably be more than over 1,000, I would assume. But if you're just doing a small section of the path, it's hard to say.
Well, we could ask him to see what he would charge. I'd like to make a motion to try and get a survey done
I second
of
that.
Commons Park.
Okay.
Are we talking about a limited survey or a full survey of the park?
Full survey of the park so that we don't have any problems later on.
think we might as
Second
well do
that.
the full survey. Sounds like that makes sense.
I
We have
agree.
a first and a second. Any other discussion?
I'm sorry, who was this? Who was the second?
Abigail, I believe.
Abigail.
All those in favor, please say aye.
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 So who's gonna write that letter to Kent Greenhouse?
Any opposed? Excuse me, John, let's finish this up.
I'm sorry.
None opposed. Okay. Usually the donation letter would be written by the director if she has time.
Okay.
I will see what I can do.
Just a quick couple lines. You should probably have thank you letters somewhere. I don't know if you've ever come across those. Okay, so if, go ahead, John.
John,
No.
it also might be nice to give them a shout out, like on the community page on Facebook or something. If you just like share a picture of the memory garden or something and just say thank you to Ken, Green.
Yeah, I can do that. It's not a problem.
Good idea. So as for the seasonal worker, I was just trying to take some notes off of the routine maintenance recommendations. Just trying to
Yeah, it's
simplify it.
and
Yep.
I went through and I highlighted some things in yellow
Yep.
that I think probably would be a priority. The weekly edge trimming, the weeding of the pathways, tree trimming, weeding the memorial garden, the drainage. I don't totally know how to respond to that.
Mm-hmm.
The equipment repair, I think John would need to walk somebody through it, but possibly needs to be tended to.
So if we break it down, it's basically general, we need a general maintenance, a seasonal, like a general maintenance worker to do
Seasonal
safety
maintenance.
check.
Yes,
Yep.
seasonal maintenance.
To do safety checks, painting, weed eating, mulching. What else would be a
Safety
Wait.
checks, that's a little, what is
to open
safety checks of equipment
of the
Yes.
parks, of the playground and parks? So safety checks might include walking some of the trails to make sure there's no trees down. Not that they necessarily have to take care of them. If we find the right person, probably yes, but they may just check out the trails to see if there's any trees down. Thrown out ideas.
Okay.
So there's
No
some
rough
paint.
edge.
Yep.
Sorry.
What? Sorry. Did somebody say something?
Go ahead, John.
I say, I mean, as far as the playground equipment, it's just to make sure that there's no rough edges. I mean, all you need is a piece of sandpaper or something to just cut it back. I mean, a lot of the kids are using knives to carve their way through the slides and stuff like that. So you have to be careful. Cutting divots in the plastic and causing some of the kids to get hurt. So.
Should we add fencing, checking the fencing to that, making sure that's in good order?
Well, that's another issue we can talk about.
So I'm wondering if it would behoove us to focus this maintenance worker right now on Kent Common. I know.
Actually, to be honest with you, I think we should send scouts up there to the Emery Park Trail to see what's in the way before you make that decision, because you might need somebody that's a couple of lumberjacks to go up there and straighten it out, the path.
So I think that's what my idea for the maintenance worker would be, to find those issues, not necessarily to take care of them. They would report back to the director to say, hey, there's these trees down, You know, it's not a little limb that I can move. We need somebody to go up there and cut it down, and then we would hire someone else to do that.
Right.
So before y'all get too far ahead, I think it's important to make the distinction between adding another or a couple employees to town government versus contracting out some work. And I think that for this season, to get us through the season, it makes sense. And we had been talking about at previous meetings to have contractors, you know, contract out the work with landscape professionals or mowing professionals to get to the end of the season, to do a part of this list, do a fall cleanup and get you into the summer sort of season. I mean, the winter season.
Mm-hmm.
If we need somebody to go to the shed, the Emery Park shed, and get rid of the mice.
So I would suggest contracting with an exterminator to do that.
I think we mentioned that the last time, didn't we? I think I brought that up the last time because it was infested with a lot of mice. And I don't know if Miranda, were you able to get a hold of somebody?
No, I have not addressed that yet.
We used
To be
have
honest with you, most of my time has been sucked up in the ASP world, but
That's okay. No, I mean, if you want to, well,
yeah, it's on my list and I haven't forgotten about it, but
no, I was going to say, there was a company that we had before. You'd have to go back on the billing to see who it was. It was pretty cheap. It was reasonable. So, I mean, yeah, we have to, I mean, because it's, you know, when you open the door, from what I'm told, it's just, it just smells like mice droppings everywhere and pee. So it needs to be, not only does it need to be taken care of, but it also has to be cleaned up, like sort of professionally, to sanitize the place before we could open it up.
So is the priority, do we have to prioritize the seasonal contractor for fall cleanup and preparing the parks for the winter over
Yeah.
do we
Yes,
have to make a
yes.
priority between exterminator and seasonal contractor, or should we just go with both?
I would think that would be separate, the exterminator,
Yeah.
because you have to be licensed for that.
Yeah, I'm proposing there's two jobs here. One is the seasonal contract, one is the exterminator. One's to do maintenance, like the fall cleanup and prepare for winter. That's the safety checks, the weeding, the fencing. I guess fencing's not even, it's part of safety checks. Reporting back issues and then doing any weeding. That's one job. And then there's another job that's the exterminator.
Right.
Should we add to that exterminator what is it, gophers or groundhogs and the at the
I think you'd have to research what the DEEP suggests for woodchucks. So I'm not sure how that would go.
Are you talking about the groundhogs in KCS Field?
wherever
Life, or
it was
the
on
groundhogs that?
They migrated across to Route 7.
Okay.
they're moving on up.
Mm-hmm.
To the,
Okay.
how did that song go? Moving on up to the east side? Is that what it is? Yeah, okay.
So it's the groundhogs at Kent Common and KCS Field?
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
And I believe they're underneath that shed that needs to get repaired as well. So yeah, it's probably where they're hiding.
Cool. So is it motion time to make a motion to hire two contractors? One that's a maintenance worker for fall cleanup and to prepare for the winter season, and a second that's an exterminator to exterminate.
So what money do we have what kind of funds do we have that we can allocate for that? Is that doable, Lynn?
Well, the budget reports are attached, so you can see what's left in the maintenance.
Okay.
I am like. It looks like we had 23,000 budgeted for the park maintenance. Of which we've used 429 so far.
$429?
Sounds like we got a budget. So can you say that again, Miranda? We had how much in the budget?
For park maintenance, we have 23,000 budgeted. And so far we've used 429. But that being said, we've got an outstanding contract with the fencing.
Have you heard anything back from them yet?
No, I need to check in with them. They were,
Okay.
you know, 3 or 4 months out when we contracted with them. So we're getting close to the time I would expect them to be.
Yeah, I've seen them in
available.
town a lot lately, so that company.
Yeah.
So,
Do you remember like a ballpark of what those fencing contracts were? Like 10,000, 5,000, 2,500?
No, I think
20, 25 or 21, something like
20, 28, maybe
28.
20, something in that ballpark.
All right, so
we
there's
can say
still
we have about
a substantial amount
20,000.
left.
Yeah.
Great.
So if we put out an ad that says Kent Park and Rec is looking for a part-time maintenance worker to help keep our parks beautiful. Duties include, but not limited to, weed eating, prepare for winter season. What else do we say?
You have to make sure that you're really putting out an RFP or an ad to contract with a company. You're not putting out an ad to hire a new town employee.
Maintenance contractor?
Yes, but I think that this could be a gig worker, if you will, a single person to do the work. That's not a town employee. Like a task
Right.
rabbit. Yeah.
Right. So my point is that you want to just be careful not to make the ad
Sound like we're hiring an employee. We want a subcontractor, somebody that already has a landscaping maintenance business.
You got it. Because a new employee would require a job description and a budget line item and et cetera, et cetera. So this is exactly Lynn, a subcontracting job.
So if we call it a maintenance contractor instead of maintenance worker, or is there part-time contractor to help maintain the parks?
Sure. I think a seasonal subcontractor maintenance worker. I'm trying to put it all in the note in the document that you were looking at, if that's at all helpful to you.
That's what I was going off of.
Should you include the word independent and not, or is employee or company? We're looking for a company to do it rather than an individual.
That's why I use the word contractor. Does that not?
Okay, no problem.
I think that works.
Yeah, okay.
Part-time seasonal contractor to help keep our parks beautiful.
Yeah,
Sure.
sounds good.
Yeah, just check with Barbara tomorrow. She's in it too, just because she has those details of we need to get a W-9 from the company. There's a couple of details that she's the subject matter expert on.
Yeah, they also have to have the $1 million plus $1 million liability insurance.
Hopefully, if we're hiring a contractor, they have all that stuff, but that would winter maintenance, weed eating.
But with the town, it has to be the $1 million plus the $1 million umbrella. So
Okay. I'll get that written up and Miranda and I can go over it and put it out. Do we need a motion for that?
I think so,
You
right?
guys want to task us with that or allow us to do that?
Yes, yeah,
Go for it, John.
well, no, I was gonna say, we could, yeah, I mean, we could put out the bid. The town of Kent is looking for a part-time seasonal workers or a company to do maintenance on our parks. I don't know. Independent of the parks. I don't know if you want to add that word. I don't know.
Independent contractor?
I think it's implied if you say contractor. Looking for-
Right.
Okay, all right, no problem then.
You know, I'm looking at the list and I know like we have John Bella does stuff for us and he does everything. He can build a fence, he can build a patio, he can build a walkway, he does landscaping. I mean, someone like him or a company like him would be able to do all this stuff and it's to his benefit to do a good job because he gets the, you know, like PR for it.
Yeah, so we just put it out to bid and let's see how many people we get.
Yeah, I mean, I would think a lot of companies would be interested in doing it.
Yeah, but I think, yeah, like Ed mentioned, you just said when it's like I worry with like if it's a single person, they may not have the required insurance that we need, so.
If someone like him comes in with like a team of 3 or 4 guys and they just go through it, like, and they do a very professional job.
Yeah, your place looks good.
So we can add must be licensed and insured or must be insured.
Yeah, to
And-
the,
I would say must be to the requirements of the town, maybe.
Yep.
Insured to the requirements of the town.
Yep.
Yeah.
I know they can just add it if they don't have it. We just had to do that.
Sure.
I would say that this is a time-sensitive issue right now. We got to get it all cut away and get ready for the fall. So I mean, especially around the pool, all those boxwoods need to be trimmed back, and there's a lot more stuff that has to be done. So yeah.
Well, if they're gonna come in, they're gonna want to give a price for everything, so we should probably need to be pretty specific with a list. That's
Yeah, we
the
already
hard thing. I mean, if we,
you're all over the place, unfortunately, and that's not going to give somebody to give you a price when you want hedge trimmed, you want fences fixed, you want bees nest taken down, you want the weeds pulled out of something. You say weeding, how many hours a week do you want?
Right.
is it better to say X amount of hours per week?
No, you have to have somebody that knows what the jobs need to be done so they can ask you how many hours. Because if they all of a sudden come in with a crew and get everything done in a week, then if they show up next week and everything's done, then what do you tell them? Oh, we don't need you anymore now.
Yeah. And they'll want a contract as well.
Yep. Oh, yeah.
Is there any way to do this by,
Like,
is there any way to do it by saying, you know, this is sort of what needs to be maintained? You come in and see what needs to be done and then bill us for the time, or you can't do that? I mean, it's so hard to figure out. I mean, I know. I mean, it might change week to week.
It changes week to week. And once you get something done, once you cut the boxwood in the pool, you don't need to do them again until next year. So that job is done.
Yeah.
So, you know, once you spend an hour with your York rake running around the pathway at the Common Park and smooth it out with the bucket or tractor, which will take probably 2 hours, you're done.
Yeah,
Well, maybe
so
we need to
does
say
it make
something-
sense to put the ad out see who's interested and then dive deeper into the bits and pieces of what
That's
needs to be
what
done.
That's
Because
what
I would
I would.
think, yeah, I think they would help us figure it out,
Right.
right, Ed?
Well,
Well-
we know some things that need to be done, and they will come up with some things that need to be done. So what about something like work with the Park and Recreation Commission to identify and prioritize tasks?
Sounds
So
good.
that's how I imagine it would work. But the problem is, how do you decide how do you, if you're not going by a number to pick someone because they're the lowest bid? I don't know how it works on a.
I mean,
We could, oh, sorry, Miranda.
I was just gonna say, it's kind of more of a time and materials contract, and then maybe you just have a not to exceed number.
Can I ask Tina a question? How it works on the budget, if our bylaws say that we, anything over $1,000 goes out to bid, but we have this person on a per diem as needed type basis. So the first job that they bill us for might only be a couple $100. Does that make it so that they're not at the $1,000 threshold and we don't have to bid it?
You're sort of getting into the space of having another employee versus hiring a contractor to do a prioritized set of tasks to, sort of like when you have your lawn done for the fall cleanup. They come in, they blow the leaves, they bag the leaves, they mow, they mulch, they, I don't know, put burlap on the trees, and that's it, and they're done. And also, if you're looking to get a price, and if you don't identify the task list, that's a finite task list, how are you going to be able to compare the different proposals that you get in? So you want to, for this, again, staying with we're hiring a subcontractor to do the fall cleanup. Maybe that's where the focus needs to be, to do the fall cleanup, which includes the clearing of the paths, but doesn't include, maybe I don't know, some other more minutia tasks. And you'll get to that, but this is really maybe just focusing on that fall cleanup so that you can get lots of, 5 or 6 proposals that are comparable so that you can make a decision easily and quickly. So maybe go back to that document that Abigail had put up on the screen share and decide what are the priority tasks for fall cleanup to get us through, into November, so that you can have the stuff that needs to be done immediately done. I don't know
If
if that
it's
helps.
if it's under $1,000, do we have to bid it out?
Oh, so right, we're doing that. So I gotta find the Park and Rec bylaws. There's an RFP policy that's at the town level that is in it's the policy and procedure manual. And I can send that to you all. Basically, for the services, I'm just looking to see if there's a number. On goods, it's 10,000, anything exceeding $10,000. But I don't see, all contracts must be approved by the first selectman. All contracts should be effective July 1, whenever possible. No board, commission, department, agency, officer, sorry for reading so fast, employee of the town shall be authorized to involve the town in any obligation to spend money for any purpose in excess of the amount appropriated in the line item to which said expenditure shall be charged. Each contract should be reviewed 6 months prior to termination. Department head must show due diligence in supporting the contract. Evidence of 3 quotes from competing vendors needs to be obtained. So there's your how many. in case of emergencies, public safety factors, lack of interested vendors, or it has been deemed in the best interest of the town, whereby 3 quotes are not provided, disclosure of such incidents shall be attached to the invoice. So if in your bylaws, it says, so barring anything in this policy, which there isn't for services, then it would revert to your bylaws for that. Anything exceeding $1,000 would have to be an RFP. And an RFP doesn't have to be an incredibly complicated document. It can be just like you guys have been talking about, this list of tasks, the qualifications, meaning they have to have the insurance qualifications, any other qualifications that the municipality requires, and some sort of time frame that you want the work completed in, because if you don't, then they may say, well, we can do the fall cleanup, but we can't do it until February. And so they're going to put in a proposal, but that would actually disqualify them because you need the fall cleanup done in the fall. So yeah, you would have to go with your bylaws.
So even if it came in under $1,000 at this point, we still need to put the ad out. Regardless, we don't, I guess we could pick somebody, but we can put the ad out and see what we get.
Well, the RFP policy does state that you should get 3 quotes.
Doesn't this sound to you guys like it's gonna be more than $1,000?
Yeah, I would say it would be more.
Well, my thought was if you bring someone in and say, can you clean up the path a little, weed around the playground, clean up the park a little bit, and do $600 worth of work, then he comes in with his crew and then he says, this is what I recommend you do, this, and this is what it's going to cost you. And the next meeting, we come and we say, he says we should do this is going to cost another $600. And then we can just approve that and go along like that. Cause it just, getting those fence quotes was like more trouble than it was worth, honestly. It was like ridiculous. But I mean, I know it has to be, it just seems like for a small job, it's a lot of work.
Mm-hmm.
Once you trim it down and everything, it's easier to maintain, so it wouldn't.
Yeah, I don't think it would be that expensive to have someone come in and, if you're having someone come in every month, he's coming in, he or she is coming in, doing whatever it was approved by the commission. And then while he's there, he says, this is what I'd like to do next month, and this is what it's going to cost. And then you approve that at the next meeting and you just keep proceeding like that.
Yeah, I don't think you want to, I don't think you want to say just $200, $600 worth of work because somebody's idea of what.
No, I wouldn't say that. I would say I would make a list. Can you do this, and this, and
Yeah. So why don't Lynn and I work together and create an RFP with some of these big ticket items that we want to accomplish, and then put it out there. I've done a fair number of RFPs in a previous job. I'm pretty familiar with how to do that. So I'm happy to take that on. And then we can bring back whatever quotes we get.
Sounds like a plan.
And then maybe, yeah. And I mean, if someone does the work and it's good, maybe we can proceed forward by letting a part of the job is for them to identify the issues and then give us, a price.
Yeah.
For the the work that needs to be done in the future.
So, but maybe give us an idea of how much we want to start with, and I can do my best.
$999.
And I can do my best to put it, get a basic cost estimate going and try to base the RFP on that.
Well,
Not,
I mean,
So
not
we-
to say that
we-
we would,
Is
not
it
to
better?
say that we, not
I'm
to
sorry.
say that we would just say, you're gonna do, we're hoping this is gonna be 1,200, but it's always good to have a budget number.
And that's what you're working within anyway. You're working within the line item in the budget.
Right, but
Right.
it's not like we're gonna spend all that money. I mean,
You just can't reverse engineer it from a transparency visibility standpoint to suggest or push a vendor to meet a number that you want them to meet. Would be unethical. Would get us in trouble.
Okay, so
It is still
you make a list of what needs to be done and then see who can do it with the most reasonable price.
so to wrap this up, Miranda and I, or if somebody else wants to do it, that's fine. We're gonna come up with an RFP list, just the things we want to do for the fall cleanup. And put the ad out, or put the RFP out, get as many bids as we can. And I would suggest a quick special meeting to discuss who we want to choose so we can get them hired, and hopefully it can be done in the next 2 weeks.
And then, like Jean said, we have to put them on a date when they would start.
Yep, that can be in the ad.
Right.
Well, we want the date that it's completed by.
Yeah, the time frame for fall cleanup.
Yeah.
All right, so if that's okay with everyone, will someone make a motion? Or make your own motion?
There's a cricket.
Yeah.
sorry, I'm ruffling papers over here.
I make a
Make a
motion that we
motion.
advertise for a company to come in and do the fall cleanup at the parks. Are we saying both parks or just the one?
If fall maintenance is needed at Emery Park,
Both
then
parks.
that should be
Yeah,
included.
yeah, okay. At both parks.
Can we specifically ask them to take care of the weeds along the path and the weeds around the playground?
Well, that would be,
Well,
Oh, I guess it doesn't, I guess it's the end of the year, but I mean, it just looks so horrible right now.
Yeah, I mean, I think that would be something we can include.
Mhm.
I mean, as long as they understand that we don't use pesticides, we
Right.
only use vinegar, so.
Okay, we have that motion. Is there a
Yeah.
second?
We
Or
could
Are we
get
still
a goat.
defining that?
I second.
I'll second it.
Miranda, you got that motion? Was it defined enough?
Yeah, I'm gonna I'll go back and see the video, but yeah.
Okay. And we have a second from Julia.
Yeah.
And
Or was it
And-
Julia or was it Abigail?
Abigail.
Julia can have that second. It's fun.
Thank you, Abigail. Thank you.
is there any more discussion? Okay, all those in favor say aye, please.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, terrific. The aerator, I believe, is still in the pool. The pool has to get drained. It's probably just really lovely.
So I will just say quickly that I had mentioned that to Rick about
Uh-huh.
draining the pool, and he said that we shouldn't drain it. I said, well, okay, well,
Okay,
I don't know what the
So-
process is. I'm just passing that.
So here's what we do every year. Because there's so much algae there, you'd have to really drain the pool. I mean, I know it would kill it off in the wintertime, but still you got to clear out that mess that's there. It's all muck. After that, you can fill it back up, but we usually fill it back up in the wintertime so that the expansion and contraction of the winters wouldn't crack the pool cement. So yeah, you'd have to fill it up before winter.
Okay.
All right.
Are you saying though it should be drained and cleaned again?
Yes. Yeah, because that algae's right there. It's going to be a problem.
And you also need to do an evaluation of the standpipe.
Yes. Yeah. The one coming in from the stream.
No, the standpipe for the main drain.
Okay. All right.
I was told that's rotten and not in very good shape.
Okay.
So you might be looking at a lot of money to replace that.
All right.
Hey, Lynn, just a thought, does it make sense to, I don't know if you had any conversations with any of the pool contractors to do that close up work?
I can get Billy up there to clean it out again probably, but I have not talked to an actual pool person yet. It's on my list to reach out to them, but I haven't yet.
Okay.
All right. Do we need to address the woodchucks? I don't know that they're coming from our field, but maybe somewhere else. And now it seems like they've moved over to Kent Center.
That was part of what we were gonna hope this person was going to coordinate for us.
Mm-hmm. They can look around for them. All right, anything else on parks projects? We'll move on to Parks Master Plan. Anything there? No, okay.
It would be great to have one.
Who's in charge of that, by the way?
What does it mean to be in charge of something on this commission?
What's that?
What does it mean to be in charge of something on this commission?
Is it the subcommittee that worked on it? Seems like eons ago.
Mm-hmm. I don't even remember where we left off on it.
Well, we haven't done anything in a long time, so.
We had one bid that we accepted to do it, and we were looking for funding.
Right.
We were going to use some of the money we had and ask the town for some money. And the bid that we had was extremely reasonable. And it's by somebody that knows these parks very well.
And then we had the pushback from the Board of Selectmen about our mission statement. That's the last thing I remember.
Which we rewrote our mission statement. So we did do that.
If that board wants to, if that committee wants to get together, I don't remember who was on it, and get together and see what the next step is.
I think the
Ways to
next
find
step
the
was,
funds.
yeah, was the funding really.
It's money. That's the next step. Got to go back to the Board of Selectmen.
I'd also think if we're going to have a master planning process, we probably want the new director to be able to manage
Yep.
a master planning process. And it would really be beneficial to have a master plan to help guide and prioritize what we're doing with the parks.
So maybe where we are for now is just that this is a priority once the new director is selected and in place.
Agreed.
But we should be sure we're trying to get a director that can, there's different qualities of the directors, and they all, some will be really great at organizing programs.
Well, that's
Some
one of
will
the
be really great at,
questions.
is it part of the job at this point?
It is because they are tasked, they do what we task them with.
I
Certainly,
believe
but
that
we
put
task,
something in the job description about working with the commission to something about like identifying and managing long-term goals. I think
Right,
that we had some.
exactly.
Mhm.
awesome.
Okay. We good with that for today? Miranda just sent through the budget reports. I don't know if anybody's had a chance to look at them. We're still fairly early in the new budget season, so I don't know if there's any questions yet. 5-year capital plan, always be thinking about if there's anything that you want to put into that. Remember, whatever it is, takes 5 years to get the money. 2021 concert series, I think it was great. They wrapped up. Miranda kind of went over that in her director's report. Any other questions on that?
Hey, Lynn, just for 1 second, back to the capital plan, just so y'all are,
It's November, right?
yeah,
Sorry.
so that'll, yep. Late October, November is the time frame, just for you guys for planning meetings going forward, because it's coming right up.
Thank you. Yep. And is there a minimum to put into that? Isn't it like 25,000 or something?
There is, I'd have to dig out my folder, which I might be able
Okay.
to do.
No big deal. So seriously, if
Just-
anybody has ideas that they want to put into the capital plan, please bring them to the next meeting so that we can discuss that and see if that's,
When
Yep.
when you're talking about ideas, are we talking about things like bocce courts, dog run, new playground, that type of stuff?
so, yep, that's, yeah, but large cost items. You know, a bocce
In-ground
court,
swimming pool?
a
Like
swimming
that kind
pool,
of stuff?
yes, yes, $1 million
Okay.
projects.
But
Or,
like
you know,
for serious, should we be, is that what this group would be talking about?
sure,
Yep,
absolutely.
it was talked about 30 years ago.
Don, I remember you mentioned that large grant that was available for Parks and Rec.
Yeah, that's coming up. That's coming up
Okay.
on the agenda.
Oh, it is.
I
okay.
think, are you, Diane, referring to the one we talked about a couple of meetings ago? Because that one is not available at this time. I think John may have put a different one on for this
Okay,
one.
I know I missed a meeting. I think I missed the last meeting. So if it was at the last meeting.
No, it wasn't the last one. It was a couple meetings ago, but I
Yeah.
researched that and it's not, that grant is not available right now.
Okay. Yeah, I think that was the one, probably. Okay.
But there is a new one coming, well, on, under new business.
Yep.
Anything more on the capital plan? Okay, like I said, the concert series went well. Anybody have any comments or questions on that?
Perfect place to have it. It's a perfect place to have it. I tell you, it's great, fantastic.
Yeah, I think it's working out great there.
Yep. Yep.
After school program, we need to do some more advertising or try to get the director in. Miranda's been having to fill it in Monday through Friday.
Yeah, I would just say if I would very much appreciate, and obviously I'll repost the job ad and do that. But if you guys can get the word out on your end, I would be appreciative. I'm doing the best I can right now. You know, my husband's schedule is a little bit lighter right now, but it's going to be getting, you know, he's going to be coaching. And so it's going to be getting harder and harder for me to cover ASP. So spread the word.
Are we offering enough money, do you think? Or, I mean, if we added some extra money to it?
I mean, I think the pay is generous, what you guys
Okay,
have
all right.
historically offered for the job. I think it's, it's just a hard position to fill because it's kind of odd hours and, yeah, it's just, and, budget wise, I don't know that we would want to go much higher than what we're going now.
I think in the next ad, we should put the amount of pay in there.
Yeah,
hope
I can put a
right.
range. That's fine.
All right, we'll get that out. How old are your kids again, Miranda?
3 and 5.
Okay.
Perfect ages.
Yeah, well, I was gonna say they can go to ASP, but
My daughter goes sometimes.
What are we paying?
So I believe it's around, well, I would say the range would be around 18 to 21. I think the last director we paid was maybe 20 an hour.
And how many children are currently attending it a week?
It averages about 10 kids a day.
And they pay how much a day?
11.
But it's a service that the parents need, definitely.
Yeah, for sure. I think it's a good thing. And I have, I'll just throw this out there. I'd like to, right now, we've been getting all of our snacks at the IGA. And I think just a small thing would be maybe if we ordered bulk, what we can order from a wholesale place, that would help. That would help because honestly, we spend a lot of money on groceries for that program.
We're being too generous.
Yeah, I know. I'm like, should I just be limiting to them to? It's just so hard when they're asking for snacks, right?
Yeah.
okay, that's a good idea.
I mean, I can run to Costco, Miranda. Can I be in touch with you and I can,
Yeah, Lynn, do you know how that works as far as?
I don't see
love receipts.
I don't think there's a problem with that. Just save your receipts and give them to Miranda and she can submit them to the treasurer.
I love a reason to go to Costco. Just need a reason.
Yeah, you two can figure out what snacks you want and
Okay.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
happy to do that.
great. Thanks, Kate. That's awesome.
Sure.
From what I hear, the snacks are one of the highlights of after-school programs.
Always, man. Snacks rule.
Anything else on ASP?
No, I don't think so.
Great. Thank you, Miranda. You're doing a good job.
Yeah, thank
Thanks.
you.
The girls are doing a good job. Your counselors.
Yeah, no, they're working out. They're doing well. So
Good. Julia, anything on tennis you want to tell us about?
Yeah, so tennis is going well so far. We had our first session of tennis in the parks and we have 8 children, which was our cap in each session. There are 2 1-hour sessions on Wednesday afternoons. And I think it went well so far. Everybody seems pretty happy.
Perfect.
The one thing that I would add, if we were to continue having programming at Kenton Commons Park, a porta potty there would be
Okay.
helpful with young children and also
yeah.
I
someone
second
who can
that.
be there.
yes, I would also second that.
How many more classes do you have, or is it
5 more.
5 more? So why don't we get a porta potty over there?
Yes,
Okay.
I think that would be
That'd be
awesome.
great.
Miranda, can you call that in the morning?
Sure. Is
Um,
there? I guess I'll just check to see if there's like a company the town uses already that could.
Yep, we use, I think a
Good.
Royal, but Barbara has
Good.
the,
Okay.
Julia, just one quick question.
Started off really well, Julia. Everybody seemed really excited.
Julia, just one question.
Yeah.
That net, both those nets, we used to leave them out in the wintertime, but I've seen in previous years, they were rotting away at the bottom. Are we gonna need to replace those soon, or?
The nets look like they're still in pretty good shape. They wouldn't
Okay.
have stood out to me for needing to be replaced, but I do think it's a best practice to take them down in the winter and put them back up.
Great, thank you.
And I'll just say one more thing that, you know, when we advertised for this program, it filled up really quickly, and I had some people that really wanted to get on the list. And so I think there's definitely, there is desire for more tennis programming, it seems. So if we can, you know, if there's a way to grow the program, we'll see. You know, it's always hard getting the coaching staff and all that, but there's a hunger for it seems.
Well, just look at the U.S. Open where that girl from Great Britain, she's only 18, and how she did. Fantastic. I mean, they're all looking for superstars, and there's a woman, 18 years old, that did it. So.
I love when our programs do well. Okay.
Don't know till you try. Don't know till you try.
Yep. Anything else on tennis? Okay.
Thanks, Julia, for turning us into a tennis community.
I think Mike gets credit for first introducing it all.
Good job, guys.
Mike. Thanks, Mike.
All right. Halloween bash. We can have it on Saturday the 30th at Club Getaway. We got to decide if we want to do the same thing with cars driving through, or do we want to get a tractor and a wagon or something so people don't have to drive themselves through, or they walk through, and charging for sign up, or do we not need sign up? And we just say $5 or $10 a carload. The problem with the sign up and having it free was that a lot of people signed up but didn't come, so they wasted a lot of the spaces. So
I can just add tractors and wagons are a huge liability issue now.
okay, and they're loud. So
Well, no, they're not too bad, but yet they've had other functions around in the area where a kid fell off and got ran over by the tire. So if
Gotcha.
they have wagons, they have to be pretty well enclosed so people can't fall off of them and stuff.
okay.
It's just something to think. If you can find somebody with a pretty well enclosed wagon, that's fine, but it's something to think of. And they even had one wagon start on fire in New Milford or something one night. I don't know how, but the hay started on fire.
So I think it went okay with people driving through. Nobody got run over. I always worry about the driver getting scared and screaming and
Yeah.
I know, Lynn, that you had talked about, or at some point we had talked about maybe just walking through. Is that still?
so one of my ideas would be to have everybody park down in the lower lot. Have everybody park down in the lower lot, and then they walk up to the lot before the arches, before the entry. And if we had enough people, we could do a tent there, and we could get back to the pumpkin carving. Or we do that down in the big lot. If people are driving through, I was thinking if they're walking, they do that. But if they're driving through, we could do games and stuff down in the big lot, and then they come up and do their drive through. But we got to get that going. So I'm gonna ask the chamber to put out a note to see if any of the businesses want to join us and have a booth, so to speak. Does that sound okay?
Yep.
All right. Our next meeting will be very close to the Halloween bash. So, how do you guys feel about, do you want to do extras? Do you want to set up a tent or something and do, I guess we really can't do the costume parade, but, the pumpkin carving or the pumpkin decorating, or should we just forget that till we're back inside? Forget that altogether? Is there anybody that would want to even take that on?
I just wonder a little bit how you would light that.
He may have lights down there in the park, but I don't know. Maybe just do the bash, that's in the drive-through.
I think that's like in its own right, pretty monumental thing. And I was so impressed that that you were able to do it last year that I would hate to add anything more to it.
I'm
Just
personally
make
good
it-
with the drive-through. I can't even, sending my son out to college right after that, so for the first time ever.
Oh, separation anxiety, huh?
It's already there.
Talk about scary.
Yeah. So we'll get working on that with my cohort, Michael. They're getting plans together for that.
Sounds good.
Great.
Know that we at one point also thought maybe integrating after school program kids into it to help you all make stuff. Just throwing that back out there.
We could possibly, let's get this started and see where it's gonna go. I still someday am gonna do my haunted holidays and make all the holidays haunted and make them scary. I think I said this last year, where each booth is like a different holiday.
Nightmare Before Christmas.
Yeah, so
A bit.
something like that. So the other thing about Halloween is that every year the director sits in front of the library with the resident trooper and they hand out glow necklaces. The Lions Club is wondering if we are doing that this year. And the only thing I'm thinking of is that our current director has children and will probably want to be out trick or treating with them at the same time that the necklaces are supposed to be handed out. So maybe we order them and see if a Lions Club member could do that, Diane.
Yeah, I will just say that my husband is on duty that weekend, so I will probably definitely be on Halloween duty with my kids.
Halloween, let me see, Halloween is on the 31st.
That's Sunday.
So you said you hand out necklaces on the 31st on Halloween?
Correct. Usually between, I think it was like 4:30 to 6 or something like that, and just stand in front of the library.
Yeah,
area.
I could get the Lions Club to work on that. 4:30.
I'm speaking with Darlene on that, so I will keep you apprised.
Okay.
She's the one that actually reached out and asked me.
Oh, okay.
And I will just say that
I'll touch base with her too.
Okay.
I don't know, maybe we want to check with the resident trooper, because he asked me, what we were doing, if we were doing the drive-through or whatever, and he kind of hinted that he wouldn't mind having a year off. So maybe that's something we might want to reach out to him and just make sure he's still on board.
I don't know. We don't hire the cops to stay around for that night or anything, and I don't think he needs to be there to hand out the glow necklaces.
Okay.
I don't think there was a reason except for, you know, it's always nice to have the trooper doing fun things and not only when bad things happen.
Yeah, no, I get it. All right.
So you guys are good with going ahead and ordering the glow necklaces for that night?
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
So
false-
just to be, is that somebody else that's ordering those, or am I supposed to order those?
I think we are gonna do that.
Okay.
I don't know if we can look back and see where she got them before and how many.
Yeah. Barbara.
Yeah. Okay, I can probably poke around.
Okay. Fall soccer update. You pretty much already discussed that. Do we have any more questions on
Yeah,
that?
we do have something that we need to talk about
Okay.
for the travel soccer.
Sure.
When the other towns, because they're gonna pay the coach, Steve Dodge, and all the other towns kind of agreed to throw in 500 to do that. And I said, well, you know, I need to bring it to the commission. So here I am. Obviously, because of the low registration numbers we had for that, you know, we're not covering that, but I think it's a good thing to throw in for because we are participating in it.
Anyone have any thoughts on that? You okay with the 500? How many kids do the
This
other
is-
team
That's-
towns
yeah.
have?
I don't know off the top of my head. The other towns had more kids, but you know, it sounds like everybody's just throwing in 500, and that's kind of what.
Yeah, it seems like that's what we should expect moving forward.
Yeah, and I
Pay for a
think that
coach.
you know, if we participate again next year, I think with a little bit better marketing and earlier marketing, we can get more kids participating.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
the kids would be,
especially now that we've got 50 kids out learning how to play soccer.
Mhm.
Well,
Yeah,
I think we'll
and I
have
think
some teams.
once word gets out, I think, you know, I think the program is going pretty well, and I think once word gets out about the program, that maybe more people would be interested, but
Somebody want to make a motion to pay Coach Dodge the 500 for the Travel Soccer League? Or to contribute
I'll make
500?
a motion to contribute $500 on behalf of the Parks and Rec to pay the coach of the Travel Soccer League.
Can I have a second, please?
Second.
Any more discussion? All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Thank you. Anything else on that, Miranda?
nope.
Anything on Mountain Bike Club camp?
You know what? I'm gonna take that back. I do have one more thing about this fall soccer.
Okay,
Steve Penner gave me, and I think we talked about him already earlier in the night, Gary Hawk, who typically lines or sets up our fields.
okay.
And so he had sent me a text and he said he could do it for $100. So this would be for instructional. So I guess my question is, do we want to line the fields? Do we want to spend the money to do that? We're going on our third weekend here. I mean, I think it's nice for the kids to have lines to look at, but
And we have a lot of paint here.
yes, we
There's
do.
2 cases of paint here.
And it's my understanding that he just kind of lays out the field, sets up the corners, and then we kind of in the past had done it on our own.
We had a
I
couple of
think,
volunteers. I think we had a couple of volunteers who did it.
I think the former director has also done it.
Yeah, she's done it.
And I have the line painter thing in my car actually, because I didn't know if I was going to need it, but
We need a bigger car.
I have a minivan, don't you worry.
So do we need to make a motion to have Gary Hawk outline the fields for $100?
Yeah, I think so. I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye, please.
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Are the fields okay, Miranda?
Yeah, I mean they're okay. I mean they're not. They could stand a little more money thrown into them. I think. Some of the things we had talked about doing, top dressing and putting a little more money into them, I think would be beneficial. And definitely, addressing the groundhog that apparently has hit a hole. But I mean, for what they're being used for, I think they're fine for this year.
Okay. Mohawk Mountain Ski Club. Oh, I'm sorry, bike camp.
Yeah, I don't have a whole lot about bike camp. The guys that we kind of talked to had sent an email out to South Kent School, but I didn't hear anything back. And then so I kind of circled back around with them and said, hey, what's going on with this? And I haven't heard anything back. I got an email from the Kent School that because they kind of were a little bit wishy-washy about partnering with us based on something that was going on with them internally, but now it seems like they're maybe more on board with partnering. So then I sent another email to the mountain bike guys to say, hey, can we still get on your calendar? And I did not hear back. So that's all I have on that.
Okay. Ski club.
We've been communicating with them. They don't have a group coordinator yet, unfortunately. So the communication is somewhat, it's just a little unorganized at this point, but I think it still could definitely be a thing. I guess we probably just need to pick a day. And I asked, if there's a limit on how many people can attend. And he kind of said, well, it depends on the day, but maybe like 30-ish, he said if we pick Friday, then maybe like more, but I'm not sure we want to do it on a Friday, but I don't. But yeah, I think it's still out there. We just need to pick a day and a time, and hope that they get a coordinator. I think that sounds like we would be doing all the registrations, taking money and whatnot. Julia, do you have anything else to add to that?
I think you got it. It sounds just from the emails that went back and forth. I think at this point, it's up to us to come back to them with what day we'd like to go for, and then advertise and start registering people. But it would be great if they had a group salesperson that once we pick the day could help us kind of organize all of that stuff.
Do you have any thoughts do either of you have any opinions or thoughts on what day would make sense?
I don't, Julia, when we first talked about it, I feel like Wednesdays were sticking out of my head, but
That's what was sticking out in my head too.
Well, then maybe that's the day.
Yeah, and I think, what did we say, like 5:15 or something?
Yeah, I think that we had, because we were trying to figure out with kids leaving school, then how much turnaround time they'd need, or like parents getting out of work, getting them there. I think five. I think a 5 o'clock start time would be good, or 5:30 even. But we could also ask for their guidance on that again. But I think I do remember 5 o'clock in my head. So if everybody was okay with it, we could go back to Mohawk and say, we'd like to go for this for Wednesdays at 5 o'clock or 5:30 if you think that's better. And then I feel like we kind of just have to do it to see how it goes.
I think it'll be great. If you need support in any way, please let me know. Be happy to help organize.
Thanks. I think
And so
it
the
would
thought
be-
is
Sorry.
people are driving, kids are being driven there by parents
Yes.
or guardians. And then how long is it? Just ski
An
until
hour.
it's an hour. Okay.
It's an hour group lesson,
Oh, wow.
and they group
Oh,
them together
awesome.
based on ability
Super.
and age.
I
So yeah, an
thought-
hour group lesson. So kids would be getting to go with their friends from school, and it's great. I think that
Ski club.
most towns nearby do it.
Do we know the other days that the other towns do it? Would it be beneficial to do it with other towns or do it on our own day?
I can't remember what days other towns do it. I know that Goshen has like 30 kids who come. Maybe even more, I can't remember, but they've been doing it for a really long time. Maybe it would make sense to find out when Warren does it, just in case there are some people who would want to carpool with other families from Warren, just because we border it and it's on the way there. But I don't think it really matters.
Cool. Well, maybe we stick with try it out for Wednesday. See what we learn.
Yeah, I agree. Do we need a motion to move forward with that, to go back to them and tell them we'd like to go for Wednesdays at 5 or 5:30, depending on what they recommend?
Did we already make a motion to do this or last time, or no, just we're still discussing it?
No, I don't think we did.
Okay.
We didn't. We were still just like gathering preliminary information.
Does somebody want to make a motion to go
Sure.
ahead and?
I'll make a motion to have the ski program with Mohawk Mountain on Wednesdays at either 5 or 5:30, depending on what's recommended by Mohawk Mountain.
Second, please.
Second.
Any more discussion? All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay, awesome. Next is the personal Euphoria fitness program. I just wanted to,
Yeah, I've got nothing new to report there.
okay. Winter program, we did the learn to skate. Anything on basketball?
Yeah, so I do
Sorry.
have, this is the correspondence I was talking about from Michelle. So I just reached out to her to kind of get an idea of what their gym usage is gonna be. And she said, I'm just gonna read you this email. Unfortunately, at this time, we are unsure of the guidelines for winter programming. Our middle school athletics programs follow the CIAC protocols, and they have not released their guidance for winter programming yet. Once we have a plan for our own gym activities, I can let you know for park and recreation. So I don't know what their schedule is, and I don't know when they're gonna know, and so it's hard for us to plan for anything.
I wonder if we could just do some pickup games outside. till the weather gets. So you can't.
Yeah, I mean, I think we're, as far as winter programming,
Yeah,
that, but
that's true. Winter basketball,
Mm.
outside basketball.
So anyway, I guess I'll just, when I hear what they're gonna be doing or what the protocol is, then I will let you all know. But at this time, I don't know.
Okay. Move on to the Park and Rec bylaw changes. Are we gonna form a subcommittee on that? Or does somebody wanna, Abigail, I'm gonna refer to you because you were talking about it. Two things, either form a subcommittee or go ahead and take the bylaws and make the changes that you think need to be changed and bring them back, bring us a document to discuss. You are obviously welcome to make a subcommittee. We can make a subcommittee. I just wonder if you said it's only going to take like 2 or 3 1-hour sessions. We can handle that through the
Things
commission.
certainly happen better in collaboration with others. So my intent was to modernize look at the bylaws and just see if there's any way of updating them to reflect 21st century, how we communicate in particular. So I thought if we could have a couple 1-hour sessions and collectively, I don't think it has to be this whole commission, but maybe 3 of us go through it and put together some recommendations for updating it. It may help us make most of our time together and make some time in between sessions. I know that I've been asking other Parks and Rec commissioners in other towns how they run, and it is a little different than the way we run. So thought it would be beneficial to put together a subcommittee and not
So
take too much time to do it.
Can I have like 2 other commissioners to join Abigail in making a subcommittee to go over the bylaws and the Constitution?
Yeah, I'll do it.
Is that Blythe? Okay.
I'll join.
I'll join. That's
Awesome.
Who is that? We have Michael and who is it?
Kate. But
Okay.
if I'm extraneous, I think Michael got in there first.
You're welcome to join us, Kate, if you'd like.
We
Yeah,
can
they're
check
all
the date
put
later,
in-
Kate.
Terrific. So I need somebody to make a motion to make this subcommittee and to task them. So
I'd like to
basically,
make a motion to have a subcommittee to review the Constitution. Is that what it
bylaws
is?
and the Constitution.
The bylaws and Constitution, to see if there's any improvements that need to be made to reflect 21st century communication.
Can I have a second for that?
Second.
Okay, second from Kate, I got. Any more discussion? Okay, all those in favor say aye, please.
Can I actually update that? I don't want to limit this just to 21st century communication, so I just might say update it to just to update it.
Okay. So our subcommittee consists of Abigail, Blythe, Kate, and Michael. And they will be tasked with updating the bylaws and the Constitution. Okay. Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye, please. Can we do that?
Aye.
Okay. Any opposed? Did I already do that part? I'm sorry. Okay, so when you guys are ready to set up your meeting, if you could write up an agenda, Abigail, with your date and let me know, and I can set you up a Zoom meeting and forward you the Zoom information.
Wonderful. Thanks all for joining.
Yeah, that's great. Okay, on to new business. We have the deep recreation trails.
Before,
Yep.
sorry, one more thing. Blythe, Kate, Michael, is there any day of the week that works better for you or not good for you? Just while I have the three of you here.
Not really for me.
No.
Earlier in the day is better, but
Okay.
than 7 p.m. if that's possible. But other than that, I'm pretty flexible.
And just remember not to discuss anything in emails except for your meeting dates.
Yep. And the agenda.
Yeah, the agenda and your, yeah. All right, John, the deep recreation trails grant.
Okay, so we've always applied for this and until COVID came by, and then we never got anywhere with it. So basically, the grant money is out there. It's over $1 million from the DEEP, and it's to clean up your trails, do whatever you have to do for the trails to make them more attractive for everybody to use, which we could use that money badly. The amounts of money that are distributed depends on how much you're willing to put up. Some people put up 1%. Some of the towns put up 1%, other towns put up 50%. I mean, so I'll give you some of the ranges. It was some ranges went from $30,000 to $300,000. So I think this is a time sensitive issue, and we should really apply for this and come up with a figure really quick. The end date is November. So I hate to see this go by. This is like sort of free money. And we do have some money in the parks for Emery Park, I believe. All I hear is crickets.
Sorry, John, my brain's slowing down. It's a grant.
Yeah.
Is it a lot of paperwork? Is it a heavy?
Well, with
paperwork?
anything government, it's always a lot of paperwork, but we did it together, and we put it together and got it done within an hour or so. Yeah.
Okay.
What have you guys applied for in the past?
Basically what we've done before, because we didn't want to be greedy. So Leslie and I just put in for seed money, and unfortunately we never got anywhere with it. However, these other towns are putting in full amounts, up to 80%, up to more than 80%, some of the towns, and requiring 80% or more. And it's a great program. I mean, but we have to move quickly. The deadline is November.
Yes, so I got this through the COG, and I had been talking with them about different options. It's a 20% required match on the municipality. So it's not, I don't know what the 1% that you were talking about was.
Well, and on the Capra one, it said 1% to 20%. So yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm looking at their grant application right now, and the grant requires a 20% match. So it's the trails, if you're looking for a Googleable search words, the Trails and Greenways program.
Yep. And then
And
you'll see Emery
there's a
Park
bunch of stipulations, and eligible uses are grants to be used for planning and design, trail corridor acquisition, construction administration, maintenance equipment, amenities, and publications outreach related to bikeways, multi-use trails, including motorized and water trails.
And then it's rated each activity that you want to do on the grant money. So it's broken down on a point system. Did you see that yet?
Yeah, so that's how they score your grant submission.
Right, exactly.
So we should, if there's something that you want to apply for, we would need to talk with Barbara, because Barbara and I would need to discuss it, and then we got to figure out a project within the scope of the grant. One of the things that I was sort of querying with the COG was a feasibility study for creating a greenway that starts in town, goes up to the old North Kent Road Bridge, and would actually create a pedestrian bridge over the river, and then come back through acquisition along the Housatonic River and wrap back up into town. So that would be a multi-year feasibility project the first year, and then it would go into design the following years, and, you know, walk through that whole process. So that was just something that I had sort of had talked to a bunch of different people about it over the last year and a half, and wanted to see what the COG thought. But it's a quick turnaround time, just in general.
That's awesome. That would be great to start studying and seeing how the town could make that happen.
Yeah, that sounds really cool.
That would be amazing.
If you want, I've been working with Janelle Mullen up at the COG, and they're super, super helpful. This is part of what the COG is there for, and she can help us walk through the application process.
Jean, I don't know if you're familiar with, you know, what in my experience applying for grants, there was a lot of not only paperwork, but you know, supplementary graphic. I'm sorry, my brain is failing me now, but
I'm
materials that, you know, maps and design, you know, maybe not necessarily so if it's more of a feasibility study, but do you have an idea of what is required?
We would likely be that application for a greenway project would definitely be hiring a consultant to do this feasibility study. So we would shift off all the work, we do an RFP, and then hand off the work to a contracted firm that would do that study.
Yeah, no, and I understand that. I'm just saying, like, the actual application for the grant, like, what is the level of detail as far as what they require for supporting documents for
Gotcha. Sorry about that. So
no,
yes,
that's okay.
Janelle was saying, because it would be a feasibility study, and I'm looking through because she's already started working on the grant application for us. And so it doesn't look like too heavy a lift as far as, you know, creating maps or, you know, scope of project maps, that sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
But I can send this over. It's still, you know, it's not complete, but she started to hack away at it. And they do these grants. They were actually, the COG helped Bruce apply for the TAP grant that got us that last big bolus of funding for the streetscape project. This is one of the sort of primary missions of the COG, is to help with that sort of subject matter expertise when it comes to submitting grants. And that was a big, complicated grant to apply for.
Mm-hmm. So I guess, you know, what is
about their help that they would be able to offer us to get this in by November 1st.
Yeah. So this, I don't know, is this a park and rec thing, or is it, you know, the town is leading this? I'm not sure John, what did you envision the role?
Well, my idea was to take care of Emery Park first, and then later on we could probably apply next year for another grant. But I think we should. I mean, the trail that leads up to the top is fantastic view up there. So I mean, it's just I would take care of Emery Park first.
Ooh.
Yeah, so they could likely help with that sort of project as well for the submission. It would need to, eligible applicants are private organizations, municipalities, federal, state, regional agencies. So that's why the COG can provide us with such great help. So it would be the town, obviously working with the commission on what the project is, and then we would work with the COG to submit an application and go from there.
Jean, do you need any help with putting together the submission for the Greenway?
I don't think so. I mean, once Janelle and I get the rest of this application fleshed out, we can certainly flow it to the commission. It's a lot of sort of technical details of, what's your DUNS number? What's your legal name for your Form Me sort of stuff. But certainly, I'll share out, there's some, there's narrative parts of the submission that we would need to write, and Janelle's a great writer. So I'm happy to, share this out as we're moving along. And there's things like questions that we have to ask. To what degree will this project provide assistance to people who have disabilities? Your project must use the best information available to ensure broad usability. List ADA, any ADA trail side amenities or trailhead facilities that might be available. So there's, obviously there's a flow for this, the grant application. But again, the COG they do this all the time. They're doing our affordable housing plan that we're required by state statute to do. They are doing it for 9 other towns as well. They're always helping us as member towns with these grant applications.
I don't want to speak for everybody on the commission, but it's practically October 1st. This is a November 1st deadline. This is a ton of work. We don't have a director. We're doing this other stuff. I think we should just allow Jean to proceed. We can certainly help if there are things that she'd like us to look at or whatever, but I don't see trying to come up with our own proposal in a month for something different.
I agree.
It's a cool idea, but it's too much work.
That's the trouble. It comes it comes within 2 months of expiration. That's a problem.
Yeah, and I will say with the ASP schedule, it doesn't leave me a whole lot of time to.
Exactly. Yeah.
What do you think, John?
Well, I'm just, I'd rather have it done at Emory Park, and I know we don't have a lot of time to do it on our own. So if you guys want to do a greenway, that's up to you. But I just wanted to take care of the parks because at the top, this time of the year, people would want to go up to the top and look at the leaves all over. I mean, you could see 2 states from the top there. So, but
Well, is this something? And I'm sorry, I'm not more familiar with this grant, but is this something that they offer every year? Jean, do you know?
I believe so. And isn't there some capital funding that's available for a couple of projects that y'all have pushed through? I'm just looking for my. I thought there was some park money in the
We have
capital.
money for park maintenance, and not maintenance, but like playground stuff.
Okay.
And that's the only reason I was going for it, was to fix the trails up, because basically it was a trail grant. So
Yeah, and I
know I know. I mean, it's just
I've been on that trail, and I agree it needs
a lot of
but
work.
Maybe it's better to think about it for next year. For
trouble is they just announce it in a short period of time. So
Do we lose that $23,000 we have in maintenance at the end of the year in the budget?
did we use it?
No, do we have, so do we lose that money if we don't use it? Because can we
Yes.
get RFP out
Yes.
there for the trail to be improved?
Yeah, I
Anyone
mean,
that's
that
not
money we would lose.
Anything that's left over in the budget as of June 30th, or once all those bills are paid, goes back into the general fund.
But not capital stuff, but.
No, not capital stuff, just our regular budget.
Right, so Diane, you were talking about the 23,000 that's in the operating budget.
Yeah, could we use that to,
That's gonna
I
be.
mean,
a big-
I think that's not gonna scratch the surface of that
No,
trail work that needs to be done there. I think, yeah, that's a big project.
yep.
Well, and part of the decision about the trail work too is roped right into that master plan.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the only thing we can do then is, since nobody wants to do it, we can try and prepare for next year. And then,
yeah, maybe we can put it on the calendar for like 4 months before, and we can, hopefully by then we'll have a director and we can form a subcommittee to work on the grant application. Maybe Jean could even give us some guidance since she's doing it this year, and we'll, have a little experience with it.
Yeah, absolutely. And it is the municipality that has to submit the application. So we would all work collaboratively together and definitely leverage the COG for their assistance.
so you want to table that? Does everybody want to table that for now?
Yeah, we can put it on the, can we somehow remember to get it on the agenda for maybe what, the late spring,
No, July, probably.
July?
I could-
summer?
I'll certainly make a note of it in the meeting minutes.
Yeah, this grant always comes at the last minute. It's just incredible.
Yeah, and you could add a standing open agenda item called grants, and I can update you if you want me to go forth with this submission, and then it'll also be a tickler for everybody every month to say, oh, right. And maybe it'll be inspiration to go out on the internet and, see if there's a fair amount of money out there for outdoor recreation which is, recovery from COVID. And so maybe if it's a standing tickler for the commission, every month you can just have it be on the agenda. And when it comes time to start thinking about this one for next year, it'll already be on the agenda, and it'll sort of just stay in your minds to
Right.
but also cause some possible inspiration.
Yeah, I mean, the forms and the scoring, how it's done by scoring hasn't changed in 3 years, 4 years. So, yeah. Good point. Well, then let's just leave it on there for now. See how it goes.
All right. Anything more on that? Anything more that anybody wants to discuss that we missed? All right, so our next meeting is set October 17th at 7 p.m. It'll be October, but at our November meeting, we will need to come up, I think it's our November meeting, we come up with the list of our meeting dates for the 2022 calendar year. And they have to be submitted before the end of the year. Just a heads up on that. So we can adjourn this meeting at 9:43.
Wait, Lynn, what time, the next meeting is what, the 18th? I'm
October
sorry.
17th.
Isn't
Do I
that
have the
a
date?
Sunday? Wait a minute. Am I looking at the wrong year? It's on.
Okay.
Why am I showing October 17th?
It's October 18th.
It's
Oh,
okay. Okay,
okay.
just, oh, yep, I have it on there already. Okay, great.
All right, October 18th at 7 PM. Thank you, everyone, for sticking in there. Good job
Thank you.
tonight.
Job,
Thank you.
everybody.
Good night.
All right,
Good
good
night.
night.
Right.
Night.
Night.
Record. Where's record?